Manchester United interested in signing Antonio Silva from Benfica, who is seen as an alternative to Matthijs de Ligt. INEOS list 7 players for sale this summer, with a massive file sale on the horizon, and also the latest on Manuel Ugarte, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Victor Lindelof, Pellistri and Hannibal Mejbri. These are some of the topics we will be discussing on this evening's show. But before we get into that, please do me one small favour. Give this video a like. Let's try and see 1,000 likes on this episode. And if this is your first time watching, please do subscribe to the channel. I'm live every single day at 8:30, 1:30 and 6. If you want to keep up to date with all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk, make sure you get involved. This is the best way to do it and everyone is welcome. Right, let's jump straight on into it. And I want to start the show off by talking about Hannibal Mejbri, because there's a story that broke in the last couple of minutes that apparently Hannibal Mejbri is in advanced talks to join Rangers on loan. So let's see what we think about that one. It seems strange to me. I'm going to say that from the off. Should Hannibal Mejbri leave the club this summer? Yes, 100%. But he's only got 1 year left of his contract. There's no option to extend it. There's no extra year. There is 1 year left. He's a free agent in June next year. He can sign a pre-contract agreement in January. So what benefit do we get from loaning him out? It seems bizarre. I don't understand it. And I don't think he needs a new contract to Manchester United. So I'd just be saying to Rangers, either you buy him, either you give us some money, or you can't have him. Like, it doesn't help us. He's only 21. We should be able to get some money for Hannibal Mejbri. You know, he's probably worth anywhere between 5 and 10 million euros, I would say. Somewhere in that price range. He's a Tunisian international. He's played for Man United quite a few times. He's obviously been out on loan to a few places. He went to Sevilla. He went to Birmingham. Like, he's an okay player. You know, he's not good enough for Manchester United. Probably not good enough to play in the Premier League. But he could definitely go and do a job in the Scottish League, 100%. So I don't understand this one at all. Yeah, his contract literally expires on June the 30th, 2025. I've got it open here. Really, really strange. But apparently it's advanced, and it looks like he's going to end up going to Rangers on loan. So is this effectively just letting him go for free? Like, we'll wait and see what happens, but it doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see how it actually materialises. Apparently, Copenhagen are also interested in signing Hannibal Mejbri as well. But apparently, Hannibal Mejbri has rejected Copenhagen and wants to join Rangers. There you go. Fair enough. I mean, he'll probably do well, wouldn't he, in the Scottish League? I think he would. But I just think the whole 1 year left, loaning someone out, it doesn't make any logical sense. Like, why? It's the same with Eriksen. You know, apparently Ajax want to take Eriksen on loan. He's got 1 year left of his deal. Why would we loan out somebody with 1 year left of their deal? Either you buy him, or we may as well keep him for a year. It's strange, but obviously I'll keep you updated on this Hannibal situation, but it looks like it is picking up some speed, and it does look like Hannibal to Rangers will be a done deal very, very soon. So yeah, I'll keep you posted on that one. Let's see who's in the chat this evening. Welcome everybody. I hope everyone is doing good. I wanted to ask you a question as well quickly about Antonio Silva. What do you think about Antonio Silva? Would you like him at Manchester United? Or would you prefer De Ligt? Let me know in the comment section. Who would you go for? If you had to pick who should be Manchester United's next centre-back next season, would you go for Antonio Silva or would you go for De Ligt? Let me know your thoughts below. Okay, cool. I want to move over to Matthijs de Ligt then, because this situation is getting so frustrating and I'm literally sick of talking about it. But it is a news show. That is the format of this channel. We speak about the news. So the latest with De Ligt is that apparently the Bayern Munich board have said publicly that they're not going to sell him for less than 42 million. Apparently the director of football there sees it as some sort of pride, ego thing, where he doesn't want the rest of the board members to think he's weak. You know what it's like at Bayern Munich. It's politics. There's so much politics and internal issues going on at that club. They're in, I don't want to say they're as bad a mess as us, but Bayern Munich are in a mess, and they have been for a while, because there's too many people there who think they know what they're doing, but they don't. So effectively, Bayern Munich have said, you know, either you give us the 42 million or you're not getting the player. And Manchester United aren't willing to pay it. So at the point of recording this video, when you add all of those bits together, the deal is effectively off, isn't it? Because if they don't want to sell him for less than 42 and we don't want to pay 42, then there's no deal to be done, is there? Now, apparently De Ligt has handed in a transfer request. Apparently he does want to come to Manchester United. He wants to reunite with Erik ten Hag. So that's obviously a tick box for us. That should, in theory, help us get the deal over the line. But still, we're still in the same position, you know? Like, we're still here 3 weeks after we were linked to him. Like, how long have we been linked to De Ligt? Someone let me know in the live chat. It's got to be like 4 weeks by now. And I remember when he was at the Euros, we all thought once the Euros is over, he'll join. But in reality, Bayern Munich have set their price and they're saying either you pay it or we don't sell him. And they don't need to sell him. He's got like 4 years left of his contract. Even if they sell him next summer, it makes no difference to them, really, does it? Obviously, the Bayern Munich fan base did this petition a couple of weeks ago, which at the point of recording this has got over 70,000 signatures from Bayern Munich fans who are petitioning for De Ligt not to be sold. So I think realistically, when you think of this situation, imagine if Bayern Munich sell De Ligt for 25 million. That's what we offered. When you've got 70,000 Munich fans who have done this petition saying not to sell him, that's not going to look good, is it? And effectively, that is what the situation is. It's a case of ego. It's a case of fan backlash. It's a case of the director of football not looking stupid in front of the rest of the board members, not looking weak. But at the moment, it just means that the deal is off, really. Like, we're not going to pay the asking price and they're not going to bring it down. Now, is there a world where later on in the window, we go back in and pay the money? Maybe. But I would actually be quite disappointed in INEOS if they did that, because they've said from the beginning that they're not going to overpay. They're not going to be treated like mugs in the transfer market. And so far to this date, I think INEOS have got every single transfer spot on. I think they have. Willy Campoala for 11.5 million euros. I think that was decent. Mason Greenwood for 30 million euros plus add-ons, plus a 50% sell-on clause. I think that was decent. Donny van de Beek, obviously the fee was really small, but to get him off the wage book was decent. Obviously signing Lenny Yoro and Joshua Zirkzee. I think both of those signings were good prices and really, really, forward-thinking deals, right? But this Matthijs de Ligt signing, to me, presents no value in the market. 42 million for a player who is injury prone isn't good value. You're not getting yourself a bargain there. So, as it stands, it looks like Manchester United are just saying either you accept our lower bid or we're going to walk away. And they're now looking at Antonio Silva, who we're going to talk about in a minute. But keeping on the topic of annoying players and annoying sagas, let's talk about Manuel Ugarte quickly, because apparently the Ugarte situation is the same. PSG is saying either you give us the 59 million or you can do one, effectively. And that effectively has just meant that the deal's been on hold for weeks. Now, there is obviously always the potential that PSG come back in for Jadon Sancho. Apparently, Sancho has told PSG that he would like to join the club this summer. He's apparently agreed, loosely on personal terms. Would they be able to cover the wages that he wants? Yes. Okay, cool. But at the moment, that's kind of as far as the Jadon Sancho to PSG deal has gone. And the more this goes on, right, the more I think that De Ligt and Ugarte aren't our number one targets. Think about it logically. We've put in 2 bids for Branthwaite and we've put in 1 bid for De Ligt like a day ago. I don't think De Ligt is the number one option. I think he was a backup. I think the number one options were Lenny Yoro and Branthwaite. And I honestly would not be surprised at all if we go back in for Branthwaite. I really, really wouldn't. Everton apparently have been trying to give Branthwaite a new deal. Branthwaite today has rejected a new contract from Everton. And he's saying to them, unless you give me the same amount of money that Manchester United are offering, then I'm not going to I'm not going to sign a new contract with you, right? He wants 160k a week at Everton, which for Manchester United isn't that much money. You know, that's like the same amount of money that Christian Eriksen gets. But for Everton, 160k a week is big, big money. That would make him the highest earning player at the club. The current highest earner is Jordan Pickford on 125k a week. So he'd be considerably above the higher earners. And obviously the risk you have when you give out a big contract to a player, it means that someone like Jordan Pickford could come along and say, I want a new contract, give me 160k. You know, they're treading on thin ice there, Everton, if they start handing out, 160 grand a week contracts to Jared Branthwaite when he's currently only earning 35k a week at Everton. So he'd be jumping nearly 5 times his salary if Everton cave into his wage demands. But as it stands at the moment, they've not been able to agree on a new deal, Everton and Jared Branthwaite. And he has told them that he wants to leave, but he's not going to hand in a transfer request. You know, he wants to come to Manchester United. He's agreed personal terms, but until the two clubs get a fee agreed, obviously he won't be allowed to officially speak to the club. Whereas in the case of De Ligt has told Bayern Munich that he wants to leave and told them that he wants to join Manchester United. But they're still saying either we get 42 million or we don't sell you. So it's a real sticky situation at the moment. And I'm really happy that we got Lenny Yoro and Branthwaite over the line, because I think they're both quality players. But we are going round in circles now. And I really, really do hope that Manchester United now just start going and looking at alternatives. Because I honestly don't think that De Ligt and Ugarte are the number one targets. I really, really don't. Because, one, we've been putting in multiple bids for Branthwaite, which have been rejected. Why would we do that if we wanted De Ligt? Two, Ugarte is there for the taking for 70 million, right? And we don't want to pay it. We've been linked to Zubimendi. We've been linked to Fofana. We've been linked to Amrabat. We've probably been linked to some others that I've forgotten about in the midfield area, right? And we still haven't got the deal over the line. So I honestly think that this is some clever play going on by INEOS. And I think we've just got to be patient. I know it's frustrating. I know people want new players. I know the preseason tour starts this week. I get it. I really, really do. But it's just how it is in football, isn't it? We've got over 1,000 people in the room now, which is amazing. If everyone could do me a small favour and smash a like on the video, that would be amazing. I've set a likes target of 1,000 for today's video. So if everyone who's watching now likes the video, we will achieve that by the end of the show, which would be absolutely amazing. And if this is your first time watching, please do subscribe to the channel. We hit 33k subscribers earlier on today, which was amazing. And when we hit 40k, which I think could be literally either this week or next week, I'm going to be giving out 2 more Manchester United shirts. We gave out 2 at 30k. The winners of the competition have already been notified. What's the word? Well, I can't think of the word. Notified, that's the word. They've already been notified. And then when we hit 40k, I'm going to give out 2 more. So make sure you go and subscribe if you haven't already. Let's see how quickly we can hit that next milestone. And yeah, I'll be giving out some more goodies as well. I'll probably give out some more stuff. Like, I'm committing to 2 shirts at the moment, but I'm all about giving back on this channel. I'm all about community. So if anybody else can think of any other good prizes to give out at 40k, let me know and I will do my best to do that. But let's move on from that though, and let's move over to Pellistri. So we spoke about Pellistri a couple of days ago on the channel. Apparently Pellistri has agreed verbally to join Panathinaikos. I honestly think this is one of the strangest deals of the summer, alongside the Hannibal going to Rangers on loan. So strange. There are some people in this fan base, right? And this isn't me trying to bash you, who think that Pellistri should be starting instead of Anthony, instead of Garnacho, instead of Rashford, you know? There's probably a few of you in the chat today who think that Pellistri should be starting for Man United. But for some reason, the only club that seemed to be able to want him is Panathinaikos. Like, how has that happened? He's a Uruguay international. I feel like he's quite an exciting name. Pellistri, 21 years of age. I think he's good. But why is he going to Panathinaikos? Like, I'll be honest, I don't watch the Greek league, so I don't know how good Panathinaikos are. But obviously I know, like, Olympiakos. But Panathinaikos? I had a look a couple of days ago and they finished, like, 10th in the Greek league. It seems really strange, but effectively with Pellistri, he wants to leave Manchester United. He's realised he's not going to get game time. He's got 1 year left of his deal. He doesn't want to sign a new contract. So the best option for everybody is to let him go. The fee for Pellistri will be somewhere around 5 to 10 million euros, which I know sounds low, but for a player with a year left on his contract, you can't really complain. But yeah, we'll obviously see how that goes over the next couple of weeks. But it looks like apparently he's accepted that he wants to go to Panathinaikos. I just honestly think that Pellistri could go to and play in Italy, or he could go and play in Spain, or he could go. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's not a bad player, I don't think. And I feel a little bit sorry for him that he's going to end up playing in the Greek league. And I know he's going to be paid well, and I know all the rest of it, but like, still, I just think it's a little bit strange. Let's see what people are saying in the chat this evening. Liam says Panathinaikos, or are you saying another team? Yeah, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. I apologise if I'm not, but Panathinaikos, is that right? Someone's going to probably tell me it's wrong. Liam says he already went to La Liga and didn't do very well. Yeah, I mean, it's a fair point. Fair point. Okay, let's move on from that, though. I want to react to a story that broke a couple of hours ago from ESPN. And they are reporting this evening that apparently Manchester United have listed 7 players for sale this summer. And we're going to go through all sale of them. We're going to go through all 7 of them. I'm going to give you the latest news on each of those players, and we'll discuss as a community whether we think that player should leave the club this summer or not. And I think it will be a fun exercise to do because we haven't really done a video like this summer. We've done them in the past where we kind of give you a breakdown of players that we think should leave, and we all discuss it and all the rest of it. But this will be the first time we've done it this summer. So we're going to start with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He's the first player on the list that ESPN are reporting that they've effectively been told by the club that these 7 players will be available for sale this summer. So in relation to Aaron Wan-Bissaka, obviously there was talks of him going to West Ham. But for anybody who's unaware, West Ham earlier on today agreed a deal with Bayern Munich to sign Manchester United target Mazraoui. So Mazraoui to Manchester United is now looking increasingly unlikely. I think we spoke about him enough on the channel, and the general consensus was that Mazraoui seems to be injury prone, and that dodging Mazraoui is probably actually a good thing. So West Ham are getting him for only £13 million from Bayern Munich. But effectively what this means is that Wan-Bissaka to West Ham is off. He's not going to be moving there. And now, and this was, again, one of the strangest stories of the day, that apparently Manchester United are in talks with Inter Milan over a swap deal. Aaron Wan-Bissaka to Milan and Denzel Dumfries to Manchester United. Now, we did a video on this earlier on today, and there was a mixed response. Some people said that Dumfries isn't very good. Some people said that he'd be our new best right back. There was a really, really mixed response. So I'm going to do one poll today because people seem to be getting upset about the poll. So we'll do one poll today, and it's going to be this. The question I'm going to ask you is, would you swap Wan-Bissaka for Dumfries? So anybody watching back on repeat, obviously you can't get involved in the poll because it's only for the live chat. And the question is going to be this. Would you swap Wan-Bissaka for Dumfries? I really want to know how this community is feeling about it. So we'll just do one poll today. I'll leave it running for the duration of the show, and I will read out the results at the end of the video. So this came out from David Ornstein earlier on today, and he says that apparently Aaron Wan-Bissaka wants to join Inter Milan this summer, and Denzel Dumfries wants to join Manchester United. He says it's currently being discussed by agents. It's strange. It's really, really strange. But the more I broke down this deal, the more I thought about it, the more I looked at the reasons why, and I tried to understand why this deal would happen. It clicked. Both of the players are similar ages. They're both on similar wages, not big wages. Dumfries is actually paid less than Wan-Bissaka, by the way. Dumfries is on about 50 grand a week at Inter Milan. Just won the Serie A in a Champions League final the season before last, obviously with Onana as well. He's a quality player, Dutch international. He's on half the wages of Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka's on 90k a week. Dumfries is on about 50k a week. But the point I'm trying to make here is, they've both got 1 year left of their contract, Dumfries and Wan-Bissaka. So Manchester United and Inter Milan find themselves in a position where either they let them run down their deals and they leave for free in 12 months' time. And remember, if they've got 1 year left of their deal, they can sign a pre-contract agreement in January. So Wan-Bissaka and Dumfries, if they don't leave their respective clubs now, they can pick a new club in January. So we'd only have him for 6 months before he goes again. So they've effectively looked at the situation. There's 2 players here who are probably worth a similar amount of money, I would say. Let me know. Do you think they're worth the same amount of money? I think they are. If you look at their kind of market value and they're both worth about 20 to 30 million euros, I would say. Transfermarket.com says 24 million for Dumfries. And then if you look at Wan-Bissaka, it says 20. So it's around the same kind of money, 20 to 30 million euros, let's say. And that's effectively where this swap deals come from. Now, swap deals are generally quite rare, but in this instance, they do work, especially when, you have a situation where players are running down their contracts and players want to leave the club. And obviously, Erik ten Hag has the Dutch connection. We've got a Dutch manager we've got a Dutch assistant manager, and we've got another Dutch assistant manager. We do, don't we? Ruud van Nistelrooy, Rene Haak, and Erik ten Hag. 3 Dutch managers. We've just signed Joshua Zirkzee. We've got Malacia. And now we are going for Denzel Dumfries. Denzel Dumfries is 28 years of age. I can see some people asking in the chat. And Wan-Bissaka is 26. So there's a couple of years age difference. I would swap Wan-Bissaka for Dumfries. I like Dumfries. I think he's good. I think he's a quality player. He has the experience. Some people were saying he wasn't very good at the Euros, but I don't really judge players on international football that much because there's been so many instances, right, of players who have been world class or not very good at international, and then they go back to domestic. It's completely different. It's not the same thing, is it? Like, for example, James Rodriguez. Do you remember him at the World Cup? Was it 6 years ago? James Rodriguez was the player of the tournament. He gets a big move to Real Madrid, and next thing you know, he's playing at Everton. And then Everton get rid of him. And now he's playing in, is he playing in the Brazilian league, James Rodriguez? His career was literally up here. He was like on the Ballon d'Or list. And then before you know it, he was playing for Everton. Welcome to Paul Ennis, who's just joined the Daily Red Devil Members Club. Thank you very much for your support, my friend. I really, really do appreciate it. I'm sure everyone in the chat will welcome you, so thank you for joining. But yeah, so that's the first player on the list, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, in exchange for Denzel Dumfries. You can obviously let me know your thoughts on that one in the comment section. But for me, that's a tick. I would do that deal. I think it would be good value for money, and I would have no problems with it whatsoever. But I'm always interested to see what you think. Would you do that swap deal? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. The next one coming up is Victor Lindelof. He's the second player on the list. These are the 7 players that Manchester United have apparently transfer listed this summer. So in relation to Victor Lindelof, it's a similar story to Wan-Bissaka in the sense that he's got 1 year left of his deal. Manchester United don't want to give him a new contract. He's on big wages, about 120 grand a week. And the only option now is either sell him or lose him for free. So in relation to Lindelof, at the moment, his most likely destination is Fenerbahce. Obviously, Jose Mourinho is the new Fenerbahce manager and apparently is desperate to bring Victor Lindelof to the club. 29 years of age, Swedish international captain. He does have that kind of international pedigree, that mentality, but I think his time at Manchester United is probably up. So yeah, I would have no problems with Lindelof being sold this summer. Transfer fee-wise, we're talking about 10 to 15 million euros, somewhere in that region. It's not going to be big money, but that's realistically where we are with Lindelof. It's either we sell him now or we lose him in 6 months. So yeah, for me personally, Lindelof, definitely sell. Get rid of him. We've got over 1,200 people in the chat now, which is absolutely amazing. If everyone could do me a little favour and hit the thumbs up on the video. It doesn't cost any money. It's completely free. And it helps to bring more people into the show. So I would really, really appreciate it if you could go and do that. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe as well. I'm live every single day at 8:30, 6:30 and 1:30. And I did make a promise, I think yesterday, that when we hit 40k, I'll be giving up 2 of the new Manchester United shirts with any names on the back, any numbers. So go and subscribe if you haven't already. Completely free content. Get involved. But cracking on with the other players on my list. The next one is Harry Maguire. Now, Maguire does need to go this summer, but I think the likelihood of Manchester United selling him is probably very small. And that's not because that Manchester United don't want to sell him. It's because nobody wants to buy him. There is no market for Harry Maguire. I'm sorry, there just simply isn't. He's on crazy wages, £200,000 a week. We had an offer on the table last year of 30 million euros from West Ham to sell Wan-Bissaka. Man United accepted the bid. But for Harry Maguire. We accepted the bid. But he refused to go. He said, unless they're going to match my wages, I'm not going. And no club is going to give Harry Maguire 200 grand a week. I don't even think the Saudi clubs would. I mean, maybe they would, but I still think there'll be question marks asked. If Harry Maguire went to Saudi, people would be like, what? I'm not by any means saying that he's linked to Saudi. I'm just giving you, I'm just giving you an example at the moment, you know? Like, the problem we have with Maguire is his wages. That's the issue. Like, we clearly want to sell him. Again, he's got 1 year left of his contract. So whether or not we can get him out of the club remains to be seen. But at the moment, I would say that Maguire leaving is pretty unlikely. But he has been transfer listed, apparently. That's what this story is reporting. The next one I've got for you is Christian Eriksen. And obviously, we spoke about Eriksen on the show last night. The latest with Eriksen is that apparently Ajax have been in contact with Manchester United in the last 24 hours. And apparently, they want to bring him back to Amsterdam this summer. Now, at the moment, there's talks of a loan deal. Again, just like the Hannibal story. Sending out Eriksen on loan is nonsensical. It's stupid, really, because he's got 1 year left of his deal. And if we let Eriksen go now, what's the point? Like, we could release him. I think that would make sense. If we agreed to mutually terminate his contract and let him go for free, fine. But if we send him to Ajax now, we'll probably have to contribute some of the money to his wages for a year. And then at the end of that period, he'll leave for free anyway. So it makes zero sense. Would I let Eriksen go? Yes. I think his time in the Premier League is up. I was really, really excited when Christian Eriksen joined Manchester United. But I think he is a little bit past it now. I know he can still do it at international level. I appreciate that. But international football and domestic football is just not the same, is it? Really, it's uncomparable. So yeah, for me personally, if they can strike a deal with Ajax, then I would do that. And I would hope that Manchester United could get a little bit of money for Eriksen, you know? Like, when you think that we owe probably still around 80 million euros to Ajax for Anthony. We paid 100 million, remember? I know it haunts people, but we paid 100 million for Anthony, and we were paying that in installments over 5 years. So we probably still owe them at least 60 million euros, Ajax, for Anthony. So you'd hope that Man United could say to them, like, give us 5 or 10 for Eriksen and knock it off the money we owe you for Anthony, you know? Something like that. Like, that's what you'd hope was possible. But whether or not that will happen, I don't know. The next one's Scott McTominay, a player who I definitely think should be leaving the club this summer. Out of the whole list of players that we've got here, he's probably the only one that will actually get decent money for him. Like, none of the others will be able to get really any money for. But the story on Wan-Bissaka is that apparently Manchester United are expecting a second bid from Fulham for Scott McTominay. Apparently a deal of around £30 million is what Manchester United are looking for. Fulham already had a bid rejected last week for £17 million. But there is an understanding that if this £30 million fee gets met, Manchester United will sell the player, which is good. I think that we've spoke about We've spoke about Scott McTominay so many times on this channel. I like him. He works hard. He always gives 150%. But for what we need at the moment, Scott McTominay isn't the answer. If you need someone to come and score a goal off the bench with 5 minutes left of the game, great, bring him on. But other than that, I don't think he really offers that much for Manchester United, being honest. I don't. And I know he's come through the youth academy. I know, he's a local lad. All the rest of it, I get it, you know? But that doesn't necessarily mean that you keep a player just purely for those reasons. Like, yeah. So, yeah, I would definitely sell McTominay. And I think if we could get 30 million for him, then great. It is worth noting that Fulham have just spent 35 million on Emile Smith-Rowe. And I could see people on Twitter going into absolute meltdown, right? Emile Smith-Rowe has spent the last 2 years sat on the bench for Arsenal, right? He's barely played. Scott McTominay got 10 goals last season in the Premier League. I think he was our second highest scorer. Like, how is he worth 35 million, but yet we're begging to get 30 million? I don't understand it. I really, really don't understand it. The teams just think we're stupid. It's really strange. But there's people saying, why would they go for McTominay if they get Emile Smith-Rowe? Well, they play in slightly different positions. Emile Smith-Rowe is more of an attacking midfielder, and McTominay at the moment plays as more of a central midfielder. So I think they could both play in the same team. Obviously, João Paulinho has left Fulham, and apparently Andreas Pereira is likely to leave Fulham as well this summer. So it looks like Fulham are just bringing in their replacements early, you know? So it would be Smith-Rowe to replace Andreas Pereira and McTominay to replace Paulinho. That's effectively the situation there. Yeah, so we'll see what happens there, but I would definitely sell him to Fulham if we can get that one over the line. Jay says, what's going on with that Rios guy? I think that Rios guy was just an agent trying to generate some hype around a player, because it's gone completely quiet. Completely quiet. And then the next player on the list we've got is Jadon Sancho, and I can see quite a lot of people in the chat asking me about Sancho. The situation with Sancho remains the same. He wants to go to PSG. PSG want to sign him, but a fee hasn't been discussed with Manchester United yet. Apparently, Manchester United are asking for 40 million minimum for Sancho, which I think is correct. Does this mean we can do a swap deal involving involving Sancho for Ugarte? Maybe that's something that will materialise later on in the window. But as it stands at the moment, Jadon Sancho is on the pre-season tour. He's on the flight, but people, when they hear that, think it's all doom and gloom, that, we're not going to sell any of these players. The pre-season tour is just a way to gain fitness, They're all going to be back in Manchester on Sunday next week, literally in like 9 days. So just because Sancho and McTominay are on the tour doesn't mean that they're not going to, sell them. So yeah, obviously I'll keep you posted on that one. But at the moment, I think Sancho to PSG is a hot topic and one to keep an eye on. And the final player on the list is Antony. Apparently Antony is up for sale, but I'm not even going to bother talking about that because I just can't see Antony leaving the club. Like, who in their right mind is going to sign Antony? I'm sorry. I think if anything, the best option for Antony would maybe be a loan to Brazil, or maybe even a loan to Ajax if they take him. But I don't even think they would, because they wouldn't want to pay his wages. He was earning like 20k a week at Ajax, and he's on 200k a week now. So I can't see Ajax taking Antony even back on loan. So I think we're stuck with Antony, to be honest. And I know that's going to upset some of you, but there's nothing I can do about that. And I don't think there's anything Man United can do about that either. Like, Antony is now our problem. And he is a problem, I think. But yeah. There is some breaking news coming in here, actually, that I want to react to immediately. This is coming out from multiple different German outlets in the last couple of minutes. And they are reporting that apparently Manchester United have been offered Bayern Leverkusen right wing-back Jeremy Frimpong. Obviously, Wan-Bissaka looks like he's going to leave the club. And apparently Man United have been offered the chance to sign Frimpong. He's got a release clause of 34 million. I like Frimpong, I do. And I think if Sancho left and Pellistri left and Antony left, I would sign Frimpong and play him as a right winger sometimes. Because people seem to forget that Jeremy Frimpong, for Bayern Leverkusen, played more as a right winger than he did. He never played as a right back, ever. The only ever time he played as a right wing back was when they played a back five. And even then, he was such an attacking right wing back. So I don't think Jeremy Frimpong is the answer to our problems, unless we're going to move to a back five, which at the moment, when you think we've only signed one centre-back, if we move to a back five now, it would probably be Maguire, Lenny Yoro and Martinez. So we're not going to do that. Or it could even be Johnny Evans in there. So yeah, as much as I like Jeremy Frimpong, I think he's a quality player. I don't think so, personally. But maybe you guys think he's the missing piece of the puzzle. Like, would you like to see Jeremy Frimpong? You can let me know. But for me, it's a no. At the moment, anyway. But like I said, if Sancho goes, Pellistri goes, and someone else goes in that right wing position, I think you bring him in. And then you could have him as a right wing back, a right winger, etc., etc. So yeah, that's my take on that one. Let's see what people are saying in the chat this evening, though. Let's have a look. I haven't seen in the chat. Josh says Frimpong is more of a right wing back / winger. Yes, I agree with you. Mita says Dumfries is a unit. Yeah, Dumfries is a beast, absolute beast. I would like him in at Manchester United. Dumfries, I think he'd be good. He's got the physicality for the Premier League, definitely, hasn't he? I wanted to ask you this, actually. What does everybody think of the new Man United kit, the blue one? I assume everybody's seen it by now, right? The new blue Manchester United away kit. I'm not sure about it. I don't know if I like it. I really like the white one, the third kit that they've not released yet. But I don't know, just Man United wearing blue. I know we've had blue kits before, but it just feels a little bit weird. I think it's going to take a bit of getting used to. But I'm not sure if I like it. Yeah, it's the colour, as Josh says, the colour of it. Quite a few people in the chat are saying they love it. Fair enough. It's unusual, isn't it, to have a blue Manchester United kit? I can see that it's kind of resembles like one of the away kits we had. I don't know what year it was, but I remember seeing a picture of Vidic wearing a kind of blue and black kit. I think it's kind of inspired by that. But yeah, let's see what else people are saying in the chat quickly before I get to the end of the video. Felicity says, I like the white kit. Yeah, lots of people saying they like the white kit. Well, as I said, guys, when we hit 40k, I'm going to give out 2 kits and you can pick whichever kit you want. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Somebody's saying it looks like the Chelsea kit. Loads of people are saying they like it, though. It's all a case of taste, isn't it, you know? And nobody's right or wrong. Nobody can say that your opinion's not right, you know? If you like the blue kit, that's great. And the thing is, right, I'll probably see someone wearing it in the street and I'll be like, that's really nice. But seeing it on the internet and seeing like pictures of all the players in like a blue kit, it just threw me off a bit. You know, I don't know. I always just think of red as the home kit and then like white as the away kit. That's like what I always think of Man United as. But yeah, maybe that's just me being a bit basic. Okay, let's see what else people are saying. Stefan says, you got any news on Chibo Obi Martin? Well, he's left Arsenal. So it looks like he's going to be coming somewhere, obviously, because he's not at Arsenal. I think we will get that Chibo Obi Martin guy from what I've seen and what I've heard. But at the moment, we haven't had the confirmation. Not yet. Josh says, who's going to the Mega Store tomorrow? No, not me. Liam says, Bobby Charlton, etc. You don't think of them wearing the blue kit. Yeah, I get what you mean, mate, but we haven't had a blue kit for like 8 years, you know? And that's why it threw me a little bit, you know? I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. It's been an amazing stream. I'm kind of just saying random words now, so I don't want to keep you for too long. But thank you very much for joining me on the show this evening. It's been an amazing stream as always. Please make sure to smash a like on the video before you go. It's completely free content. It's your way of saying thank you if you have enjoyed the video. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel as well. We're on the road to 40k subscribers. We should hopefully get there, I reckon, either this week or next week. And I will give out another 2 Manchester United kits when we hit 40k. So if this is your first time watching, please do subscribe. I'll be back at 8:30 tomorrow. Obviously, if anything breaks between then and now, I'll go live. So make sure you've got the notification bell hit. This has been Daily Red Devil. Thanks for joining me, and I'll speak to you all on the next one. Bye for now.